I've made $360,992.49 on Fiverr. And today I'm going to be breaking down 5 of the most important things that I've gone through to get here and show you exactly what I've learned along the way so that it can, 1, make your freelancing journey a lot easier, and 2, help you avoid the mistakes that I made. So let's just get into it, shall we? Now, starting small and increasing your prices. How did I set my initial pricing? So when I first started on Fiverr, I had no client reviews, no previous work to show, like a lot of newbie freelancers. So I knew my biggest competitive edge could be my pricing. Therefore, I set my pricing to the absolute minimum, which was $5. And this is something that I'd recommend most newbie freelancers do, is to set their price as low as physically possible for them. Okay, and the only reason for this was to attract more clients. So actually I used the $5 as clickbait. So I offer video content. Now, normally the way this works is a client would have a script, and depending on how many words are in their script, depends on how much they will pay. So for $5, I offered the bare minimum. I only offered 15 words. That was the basic package, no additional editing, just I will read 15 words of their script to a camera for $5. And generally, if you count it, 15 words is really not a lot. So it meant actually the majority of clients never had a script that short. Normally it's in the region of 100 or 200 words. Therefore, they end up paying maybe $20 or $50, okay? But basically that $5 I used purely as clickbait because they weren't gonna click on my gig out of the fact that I had a ton of 5-star reviews because I didn't have any. So I purely went down the route of, hey, if I can set my price really low, this is going to attract buyers to click on me because they're getting a bargain. I only recommend doing this for 1 to 2 months until you rank up enough reviews on that gig, because the clients that you're going to be working with at these low ranges of $5, they're not going to be the clients that you really want to work with. Trust me, they're going to be very, sometimes difficult clients. So I only recommend doing this for a couple of months just to rank up your gig and get more reviews. Once you've, increased your reviews, then you can increase your prices. But generally at the very start, yes, it is going to be working for free, or maybe you'll be breaking even, but that's kind of what you have to do. You need to suffer the first month or 2 in order to then progress further later and be able to increase your prices. Now, why clients are willing to pay more for proven quality? So basically there are 2 types of clients. There's the one client who pays $5 for a gig, and there's the other client who pays $500 for a gig. Now, the client that pays $5 for a gig is going to be the client that expects the world from you. Okay, they're going to really expect a Hollywood production, or they're going to hit you with revision after revision after revision. That's the type of clients you get over here at $5. However, the clients who are paying more, this is just a different caliber of client. These are the clients that kind of understand the value of money and understand the value of your work. So I'll give you a prime example very quickly. A couple of days ago, I had a client. He ordered 3 videos. Each video is around 4 to 5 minutes long, just completely basic. No additional editing, nothing. Just me talking to the camera. They ordered 3 of them for $950. Okay. I did this. It took me about 20 minutes to film. Stuck it in Final Cut Pro, done some color grading, sent it to them. All in 1 hour, I made $950. Straight away, they accepted the order and left me a $200 tip. So that's $1,150 on something that took me an hour to do, which is crazy. Yeah, if you honestly think about it, getting paid over $1,000 for an hour of your work is kind of crazy. But that's the difference in clientele. The ones who are paying more money, you will find that very rarely you'll get revision after revision. They're just a completely different caliber of client. So once you manage to get your prices up to the better caliber of client, you will just realize that, hey, this is so much nicer to work here than it was working with these $5 or $10 clients, because they're just not worth working for. Use them to rank up your gig at the very start, but after that, cut them loose. Okay, freelancing is a journey and there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Too true, okay? I have many people contact me or DM me and say, hey, can you help me? What should I do to rank my logo design gig? Or what should I do to rank my website design gig, for example? Now, you have to understand, these are 2 completely different gigs. We have website design, which is like a $200 or $500 gig. Then we have logo design, which is down in the $5 to $20 gig mark, okay, for the majority of logo designers. Now, you have to think from a client perspective here. There's two different approaches. So let's say website design, or even let's say email automation, email marketing automation. Yeah. If I want to find somebody who can do email marketing automation, I want to see your previous work. I want to see the strategy that you implement. I want to see the whole funnel that you've done previously, because I want to see that you're capable of this. I don't want to waste my time, especially if I'm paying like $500. I want to see evidence that you are capable of doing this. That is what's going to sell me, whether I choose you or not. Logo design, on the other hand, when I'm paying $20, I just need to see a couple of your logos, see if you can design a half decent logo. If you can, let's give it a go. $20 is not a big deal. And the majority of people don't really care about $20. Yeah. It's such a low amount that we will just take a punt and give it a go. If it works out, fantastic. I got a great logo for $20. If it doesn't, hey, I lost $20. I won't use this logo. It's no biggie. Yeah. So that's the difference of, the way that you need to approach this. So there are different strategies for different gigs and different industries. You just have to think from a client perspective what it is that they're looking for and what it is that's going to sell them on your exact gig. So there is no one size fits all, unfortunately. Now, adapting your approach based on demand. This is necessary because the fact is the market is always changing. Yeah. So if you take, for example, what I offer, video content, 1 or 2 years ago, UGC video content, so user generated content like those TikTok videos, they weren't a thing. Yeah, they didn't really exist. So it was all about spokesperson videos. And that's what I used to offer. But now, if you look on Fiverr, UGC content is probably one of the most in-demand services on Fiverr right now, especially in the video content area. So everything has changed. And if you don't keep up with the changes, then you're going to get left behind. Therefore, you do need to keep creating, say, new gigs or new kind of angles of the gig to keep up with the market trends. It's the same with website design. Yeah. Website design styles, they're always changing. Everything is changing all the time with the market. So you need to keep up with what is happening and you need to start learning and offering the more up-to-date things. Okay. So for example, right now, my UGC gig gets probably a lot more messages than my spokesperson gigs do. And that's just the change in the market and the change in demand. So you need to keep up with this. Now, if you're not getting orders, it's your gig, not Fiverr. So this is so true. So many people complain that Fiverr is making their gig disappear or not showing their gig. I get DMs about this all the time. But the fact is, it's not Fiverr. Fiverr are not doing anything different to your gig than they are to anybody else's. The gig and you getting orders is completely in your control. So common mistakes that prevent gigs from getting orders. So one of the biggest mistakes, I would say, well, not even one of the biggest, this is just everything is in your control. So for example, there's about 5 or 6 things which are completely within your control that will help you get orders. Okay, so all you have to do is think about it logically and from a client's perspective. Let's say the client logs on to Fiverr. They search for whatever they want. The first thing they see is what? Your thumbnail. Is your thumbnail attractive? Does it stand out from the rest of the freelancers within your niche? Is there a ton of writing? Think about your thumbnail exactly the same way you think about thumbnails on YouTube. Thumbnails on YouTube need to stand out. They need to grab attention, okay? It's exactly the same with Fiverr. Next is your price. Is your price competitive enough with all the other freelancers within your niche? I sometimes see new freelancers with no orders. They have a price that's like 10 times more than the top selling freelancers within their niche. And I'm just thinking, how are you expecting to get orders? It's crazy. So your price needs to be competitive. And then you have your title. Now, your title really doesn't matter that much. Your title is purely for SEO and Fiverr's algorithm. It's only going to help Fiverr understand where to place you. So that's no big deal. Now, if you've done your thumbnail right and your pricing right, the client will click onto your gig. The next thing they see is your gig video. Here you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to sell the client on your services. So this is like prime real estate. Now, not every gig category has a gig video. Some of them do, some of them don't. It really depends on what niche you're in. But generally, if you do, use it. 100% use it. This is prime real estate to sell the client once they click on your gig. Next, they see your packages. Are your packages clear? Are your packages giving the client exactly what they want? Do they understand what they're going to get for their money? After that, they scroll down to your description. Okay, does your description sell them on your services? Does it tell them the problem that you're going to solve for them? Does it give them exactly what's included in each of your package? Okay, if that's all good, they might scroll down a little bit more to see your portfolio. Okay, after that, they then decide, hey, should I order from this person or not? So everything is within your control. There's no, this is Fiverr's problem. It's not. It's just down to you. For example, I got a message the other day from a guy who hasn't had an order on Fiverr. He said it was going great, but he hasn't had an order since January. So what, a month and a half he hasn't had an order? And it's just clicking now that he's like, what should I do? Yeah, come on. You should have been implementing different stuff immediately. If I haven't had an order for 3 or 4 days, yeah, which is, I know that's unusual for me. If I haven't had an order for 3 or 4 days, I'm immediately thinking, okay, what should I change? Let's change something up. Let's, change my thumbnails or something like this. Yeah. That is the biggest kind of difference here. Like, you honestly have to think of it as a business. Yeah. If you had a shop and you weren't getting customers for a week, you'd be like, well, what's going on? What should I do differently? Let's implement something else. Exactly the same situation. Okay. How to optimize your gig for maximum visibility. So the best way to do this, and this is something I didn't do for the first year of my freelancing career because I didn't know it was a thing. So whatever niche you are in, Fiverr offer multiple different categories. For video content, I have spokesperson videos, screencasting videos, green screen videos, UGC videos. And this is something that I completely missed for the first year purely because I didn't know it was a thing. So I put all of my gigs within the spokesperson video category. And it wasn't until a year after that I learned, hey, actually there's a lot more categories. And the fact is, if you start diversifying and putting your gig into different categories, this opens up the market. So for example, let's say all of my videos were in the spokesperson video gig. Now, if somebody searches for UGC videos, they're not going to find me. Even though the content is exactly the same, yeah? Spokesperson videos, UGC videos, technically they're basically the same, but they're not going to find me. So from that moment, after the first year, I created a few more gigs and I put them into all different categories because for me, I think there's about 10 or 11 categories that I can put my gigs into. And it's the same if you're a graphic designer, if you're a content writer, a website designer, there are so many different categories that you can put different gigs into. Do it. This is going to open up your market. You're going to have more client eyeballs on your Fiverr profile. So definitely do it. That is going to really kind of maximize your visibility on Fiverr. All right, mastering communication and building strong client relationships. How clear and effective communication leads to repeat clients. It's a no-brainer. The biggest hassle of Fiverr clients, or what they have to do, is they have to search through thousands of freelancers to find a good freelancer to work with. Yeah, they have to message maybe 5 or 10 different freelancers until they figure out the best pricing, until they figure out the capabilities of that freelancer. It's a pain. If you've done it yourself, you'll understand how long-winded it is and how annoying it is. So generally, if they can work with you and they have great communication, you deliver an awesome project, they're going to come back. Yeah, they're not going to bother spending hours looking for somebody else. They're going to come back to you. Okay, so having that great communication will end up in repeat clients. All right. The importance of setting expectations up front. Yes, yes, yes. I can't say this enough. Before you even think about sending the order to a client, you need to make clear that your job is to deliver X, Y, and Z. Okay. You need to make that clear because otherwise it will come back to bite you later on. If you don't make clear exactly what you're delivering, there's nothing stopping the client from coming back later and saying, oh, hey, you're missing this. Or, actually, no, I don't like this. No, I want to cancel the job. And what can you do? Nothing. Fiverr cannot automatically force the order to be completed and for you to get paid because they can't auto-complete a client's order because it would be stealing. Yeah, they're stealing the client's money. If the client is not happy, they can't force the client to pay. Okay. But One thing that can happen, because I've had this happen to me a few times. I think in my first year of being on Fiverr, I had a job for $1,800. I did the work, everything was good. The guy came back with one revision, was to like change the brand color, something like that. No problem, we did it. Then he came back with another revision saying, no, sorry, it's still not what I'm looking for. That was it. That was the message. Still not what I'm looking for. Yeah. We had done everything as per his requirements. I tried contacting him, tried messaging him, and he wasn't really responding. So I just delivered the work again. And it went back and forth for about 2 or 3 weeks of me delivering, him putting in revision, just repeating the same sentence over and over again. To the end, I contacted Fiverr support. Of course, the only thing Fiverr support could do was they basically said, hey, like, look, the only thing we can really do is cancel the order, which they did. However, and there's a big however here, because Fiverr saw that I had done absolutely everything within the requirements and they could see that the client was just being difficult and wanted basically free work, they actually paid me half of the money from their own pocket. So they cancelled the order because they had no other choice and it was getting nowhere otherwise. But they paid me $900 from their own pocket. And I've had this happen maybe 2 or 3 times. So if you can show Fiverr that actually you've done the work exactly as described, and here is the work and you've delivered, and the client has just been difficult, very often it will go to another team within Fiverr who will determine whether or not Fiverr will pay you from their own pocket. So I got $900. It wasn't the full amount, but still $900 was better than nothing. So setting those expectations up front will definitely help you in the long run. Just in case any of these incidents happen, you have something to fall back on, okay? Why waiting 30 minutes before responding can help. So generally, if you know when you have a client, you deliver your work, and then they come back with some like stupid response. Yeah, I had this the other day. I did a 5-minute video, full editing, and in the video, on like 3 minutes, 43 seconds, I said the word that. Yeah, the client came back with a small revision and said, oh, hey, at this timestamp, it sounds like you say, ugh. I'm like, what? Like, are you sure? So I listened, and yeah, I said that. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like you say, I'm like, yeah, but hold on a second. Like, think about the syllable. That, it kind of goes up. Yeah, there's inflection. Yeah. Whereas, goes down. And you can hear quite clearly that it goes up. But he was fighting it a little bit. So what I did, and this is probably the best $10 I spend every single month, I have a Loom membership. And the difference with communication, when you send a client a Loom video or like a Loom screencast and you speaking, it's a completely different reaction to just writing them a message, because you can never interpret like if the message is positive or negative through written text, yeah? But when you actually speak to the client through a Loom, they hear your voice and they can kind of connect you a little bit more on a personal level. So this is exactly what I did. I said, oh, hey, just listening to this right now, like I can quite clearly hear that I've said that. I'm not sure where you're getting from. I even asked him, and I was quite blunt with him as well. I said, like, look, I'm not being funny, but how many times have you watched this video? You know, because it's strange that you're picking up on literally something that's not even a second long in a whole 5-minute video. Yeah, other people will not do that. They'll watch the video once, and that's all they're going to watch it. He came back and he said, oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, you're right. You know, I think I'm just being a little bit too picky, you know? And the fact is other people, yeah, they're only going to watch it once and they're not even going to notice that. So, and he was cool. He removed the revision request. Everything was good. And I delivered the order. But through me sending that Loom, if I had gone back to him in writing, it would have carried on. Yeah. To the point where I would have probably had to have revised it for him. Yeah. But because you send the Loom and, you know, he hears your voice and they just connect you on a personal level, it's a completely different story. So Loom is great for communication. If anybody says about jumping on a Google Meet with me, I completely refuse. I just say, hey, send me a Loom, okay? I don't want to jump on Google Meets with clients, not unless their budget is big, and I know that for a fact, because otherwise I'm just not going to waste my time. Okay, scaling beyond solo work and the importance of building a team. Why you'll eventually hit a ceiling working alone. So My first year of freelancing, I was working just purely by myself. Yeah, I was shooting the videos, I was then editing the videos. I was working 7 days a week and pretty much every single hour of the day, until maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night, just editing videos because the editing took so much time. And that first year, I was making between maybe $5,000 and $8,000 per month. And it was going okay, but I just got to a point that I'm spending way too much time doing this. So it's at that stage when it's like, okay, I need to find myself an editing team because I can't do this alone and I want to expand and I want to grow more. So finding a team and kind of creating a team is going to be maybe your biggest decision in your freelancing career, but it's also going to be your best decision. Trust me, it's going to change so much. Yes, you have to pay for it. Yeah, more money is going to be going out, but in the long run, you're going to have more money coming in. So it's definitely well worth it. Now, when and how to start outsourcing or collaborating, like when to actually decide. So for me, it was when I got to a stage that I knew I was just working like a little bit too much. And I got to a point that I couldn't progress anymore because I didn't have the hours in the day. So at that stage, I searched for a video editor. Now, me personally, I used Upwork. I tested out a couple of people, but I found one great video editor that now I've been working with for like 3 years. And we've kind of built up a video editing team. But that was through Upwork. And now, obviously, I think after the first maybe one or two projects, we came off of Upwork and now we just work directly with each other. And it's fantastic. He understands the fact of like deadlines. He's reliable. He's responsible. He understands all of that. Whereas a lot of other freelancers don't really get that. Yeah, they want to work with you. I get DMs all the time with editors wanting to work with me or thumbnail designers. Yeah. And I give them a go and they take a ridiculous amount of time to deliver the work. I have to chase them. And it's like, this is not what I'm looking for. Yeah. So he's amazing. I got very lucky with my editing team. And, it is the hardest part. Finding a good team is very, very difficult. But, it will be completely worth it once you find people who are fantastic to work with. So there we have it. 5 of the most important things that I've learned during my journey on Fiverr. Now, if there's anything I missed, then go ahead, drop them in the comments. If you want me to expand more on a certain topic, go ahead and just comment below and I'll definitely respond to you. Otherwise, I really hope this has helped you guys and I look forward to seeing what your Fiverr journey brings.